What if the biggest problem in modern thinking isn't that people disagree, but that everyone thinks in either or thinking? For most of human history, thinking in binaries has been essential: right or wrong, safe or dangerous, friend or enemy. The nervous system evolved to make quick distinctions like this. In many situations, survival depends on it. If something in the grass moves, you don't debate its philosophical complexity. You decide quickly whether it's a threat. Binary thinking is not a flaw. It's a beginning. Philosophers like Søren Kierkegaard understood this. In his work Either Or, he framed life as a set of stark choices: the ascetic life or the ethical life, pleasure or responsibility. For someone learning to navigate existence, clear distinctions help orient the mind. But something interesting happens as cognition matures. The world refuses to stay neatly divided. Order and chaos show up together. Freedom and responsibility intertwine. Individual needs overlap with collective ones. And suddenly, the old mental tool, either or, starts producing false dilemmas. This is where the next stage begins. Philosophers like Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel described a process where opposing ideas don't simply defeat one another. Instead, they interact. Thesis meets antithesis, and from that tension, something new emerges. A synthesis, not a compromise, more like a transformation. Psychologist Carl Jung saw something similar happening inside the human psyche. Growth, he believed, requires integrating opposites: logic and emotion, the conscious and unconscious, the parts of ourselves we embrace and the parts we try to hide. Maturity, in this sense, is not choosing one side. It's learning to hold paradox without collapsing it too quickly. Modern cognitive science adds another layer. Eventually, the mind begins to see that the categories themselves are tools, useful but not absolute. Instead of asking which side is correct, the question shifts to something subtler, something like, which model best explains what's happening here? That shift changes everything. Reality begins to look less like a battlefield between opposing ideas and more like a living system where patterns are emerging from relationships. Order interacts with chaos. Freedom interacts with responsibility. Individual actions ripple through collective outcomes. The world becomes less like a debate and more like a map that is constantly updating. Post-binary thinking doesn't mean abandoning distinctions. Binaries still have their place. They remain useful tools, but they are used consciously rather than rigidly. A mature mind can move between different ways of thinking, sometimes drawing clear lines, sometimes integrating opposites, sometimes stepping back to observe the larger system at work. It's a kind of intellectual flexibility, a willingness to stay curious longer than comfortable. In a time when many conversations collapse into us versus them, this evolution matters because reality rarely lives inside those borders. It lives in the patterns that emerge between them. And learning to see those patterns may be one of the most important cognitive shifts humanity is capable of making. Thanks a bunch. Okay, time to jump in. Whoa! Testing, testing, 1, 2. Shut up. All right. Hello. No threats. No think. Check, check, check.